Good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever you are on planet Earth. Oh, some important dates are coming up. This Monday coming, it's now Thursday, so this Monday coming, I think it's the 11th of October, and they're going to open things up for those who have had 2 shots. Those who haven't don't get the same things, but they've said that things will open up for everyone on the 1st of December. So I believe, I'm not sure, it's 70% this Monday, and I think there's any support money that anyone gets, and I think there's 2 million people that get for not being able to go back to work, receive that money, won't have that. So basically it's sort of like saying, if you've got 2 shots, time to go back to work. If you haven't, well, you can't go back to work, but we're stopping any money and you'll have to go on unemployment. And then on the 1st of December, then, you can get back. So it's like, under a technicality, not being able to get back to work at the 1st of December, and the money has been cut that the Treasurer had for the emergency situation, which is interesting. If anyone would like to donate through PayPal, I'll give you the link there. I would like to thank everyone who has donated so far. It's really helped me along through this situation. It's just been a blessing, actually. It's been an amazing blessing. It could have been worse. It could have been a lot worse. It is what it is, and it will be what it will be, whatever we're creating that to be. So we're just holding the line, and hopefully, although things look to be a little bit worse before it gets better, hopefully it gets better and there's true honesty in that, and not some weird unforeseen circumstance that they're planning to basically boycott everything that they've just announced to make it. I just hope it's not like that, where they tell us one thing and then override that because of something else happening. Hopefully it's not tied into this economic crash that's apparently imminent globally and through China, with the collapse of Chinese economic stuff. But I mean, that's all by design anyway, right? Isn't it? So yeah. Anyway, PayPal link in the description. Anyone who would like to donate, please do. Anyone who wants a theta healing session, contact me. And again, it's the information in PayPal on to pay, what it is and everything. It's all in the description. So today is the 7th of October 2021. The whole year has gone very quickly. Very quickly. It's pretty much summer here. So if some of you have been wondering why I disappeared for a week, on Facey I shared I reshared a pic that had been shared. I reshared. I've got bad reception again. This is ridiculous. I've got 4G or even 5G towers surrounding me, and it's ridiculous. I don't understand why it just keeps dropping out like that. It shouldn't. So yeah, it was a picture of hospital beds in Norway, and the title of the thing, which a lot of people saw from many different sources, because there was 80 shares, was that Norway was returning back to they were normalizing the situation, and I even put question marks to say, what context is this in? So when Facey told me that I wouldn't be allowed to post for 7 days with a restriction over that, I challenged it by clicking it was in the wrong context, hoping that a human would go look at it and realise, because I thought it was a bit unfair that if it's been shared that many times, does that mean everyone else, all those 80 other sharers or whatever it was, would be, have the same thing as me, or was I being an isolated and sort of judged by not maybe an AI algorithmic thing that picks up? But if that was the case, it would be generic to everyone else. So I feel like there was someone was involved somehow. So that was interesting. But yeah, so an update on, High Eagle Hawk, cool name. Good. I've still got a little bit of a cut on my lip. I got a bump here where I got stitches. I got stitches in this side, and so there's a lump there, but hopefully that scar lumping goes away. I got stitches in this corner because the whole lip was ripped right down to about here and was hanging out, like torn from the corner of my mouth. I've still got stitches inside. I'll try and show you. So they operated on me under an anesthetic, and you can probably see the stitches below my bottom teeth. So there's stitches in there, and down in the middle there is this little lump. It's like the size of half a $2 Australian coin, bit bigger than a 5 cents. I don't know what it would be in US currency, but a coin of about that big. There's a little lump, and I don't know if they've inflated that to stitch it, but I use my tongue and I rub the tongue past the lump every day and imagine it shrinking. And down all through here I've got stitches all down in the bottom where the below the teeth, and running back and doing the U-turn up on the inside of my gum in front of my front teeth. I've got a whole heap of stitches going from here right across to here, and then up, and all up to the teeth, and also coming up to the bottom of the lip. So there's a whole area in there, and I'm still numb. I have no feeling whatsoever from about here going down to about somewhere just under the chin here, and then somewhere in here. I got feeling there. I don't have feeling there. So it's a whole area here about there where I've got no feeling. If you wanted to say what's the feeling between 1 and 10, and 10 being that I've got full feeling, I'd say 3 or 4. So they told me, the hospital people told me that it would come back eventually, maybe in 3 or 4 months, so I hope they're correct about that. Yeah, so there you go. We've had some interesting things happen here. We've had the Premier of New South Wales resign, and in the media it's saying it's a ICAC, in, what is it? Independent Corruption investigation group, or whatever they're called. I can't remember the, ICAC anyway. Just Google it, DuckDuckGo it, whatever. And then we had the Deputy Premier resign as well 3 days later, and now we have this new guy who's a devout Catholic. He's pro-Trump and anti-lockdown, so I'm hoping that it's representative of the alliance, but other people are holding back in case he's, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and going to pull the wool over everyone's eyes and then betray us in the future. So just staying vigilant to see if he ends up being part of the alliance or not. It's interesting timing, because we had the social media go down for 2 hours, and apparently Trump's Facey account came back online, including all the followers and everything. So that was interesting. So that could be a telltale sign that the alliance has possibly taken over social media, we hope. There's been lots of other different interesting things happening too, including around the world, but it's like if you don't follow the media every day and you just detach from it, it's like you're in a different reality. So unplugging from the matrix is the best thing you can do for your mental health, and live according to your own will, which is you as a free sovereign under God. Whether you are religious or not, because in that context it's basically law, constitutional law. We have orders and then we have constitutional law. There is a conflict there, and that is happening globally throughout many jurisdictions. So it's interesting that in New South Wales we have an easing back, and on this Monday the people who have had 2 shots will be allowed to do lots of things they were normally not allowed to do. They're even allowing 20 people to be in a room for those who were double shot. Those who have had none won't get these things, but they've pretty much promised that on the 1st of December that New South Wales will open up, including whether you have had any magic shot or whether you haven't. They're going to open up to everyone. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes, and then see what happens with the whole, you know, what happens next. Watching Israel perhaps as the role model to see what might happen next. But then again, you know, it seems interesting because it seems like we can take a breath of fresh air here in New South Wales and go, oh, good, because, you know, after what happened in Victoria, where the construction workers went crazy and got upset and angry because it was becoming a mandatory order for them to have the thing, New South Wales saw that and they backed right off, and you don't have to. So in a sense that saved me, because it means, you know, as long as that doesn't change again, it means that I'm free to return to work as a sovereign, as a free sovereign entity under God, without having to comply with a mandatory order, which would mean that I would have to decline it and therefore become unemployed, and that would mean no money, and that would not be a very nice thing. And I know that's happened to a lot of people, so let's send our thoughts out to all of those who have been impacted. There's plenty of them. We have police in Queensland, many are leaving. I don't know what the actual statistics are, but that's in mainstream media. That's been reported even on Channel 7 News to a degree. Yeah, but it looks like Vic is part of the Greater Cities Plan, so whatever's going on there, and I think there needs to be an investigation and inquiry into the passing around of money from international financial organisations in relation to that, because we have our federal government running all of Australia under, you know, constitutional law, apparently, able to govern themselves as if they are independent countries, which is really interesting. But then again, like in previous videos that we've done, a lot of people have woken up that a lot of the past legislation that never went through referendum here in Australia got passed through Parliament without the public's approval or voting for many different things, which is actually high treason. And I won't specify exactly what they were, but it includes Bob Hawke and Golf Whitlam and some stuff that happened in the 1970s and the 1980s as far as fraudulent documentation that was passed through and actually changed the powers of law federally when it was not legitimate. And so it means that Australia as a nation is in actuality running as a financial private corporation, with humans as the customers and the asset gain to that private corporation in occupants of the land, which is in conflict with the constitutional laws, sovereign unto God and the land. So that's really, really interesting stuff. And I think for Australia to go forward, if we're to really have peace on earth and all countries are to return to legitimate laws that represent living, breathing human beings, and really honour that aspect, because we are a species, we seem to be, quite prominent on this planet. Why wouldn't the laws be there to work with us? Why are the laws private corporation and actually against us, and they're to enslave us rather than liberate us? Because I think what we need to be doing is we need to be, as we evolve as a species on this planet and moving forward in a natural evolution of progression, it needs to be about liberating us and making things better, not keeping us down and using us as fodder to extract financial gain off us while we are alive. I guess when you look at the pig, cattle and sheep industry and how that is run as an industry, the governance of humanity, or in many different jurisdictions across the planet, are, as private entity corporations, are actually applying the same mindset, which is very low consciousness, upon humanity. So how when you see a truck with cattle, sheep or pigs on it, and how they're treated as a commodity, we are simply just born into a system where we're a commodity, where we're worth taxing and so on and collecting money from. If people are sick, then they're an ongoing customer, which creates lots of money. So there is an incentive there of a system to actually really work with humanity in making us go better. And so we need to leave those mentalities behind, and we need to get ourselves out of that vicious cycle, because it's really old school and it's old fashioned, and we need to be moving into the new energies that are the earth is being hit with, the frequencies, and we need to align with those frequencies and start operating with them. And it's sure as day bound to happen. And what we're seeing now is the amplification of the dark, trying to leverage its last foothold to try and contain it. Like if a psychopath has someone prisoner and that person is trying to escape, then the psychopath might take extreme measures to actually stop that person, which makes that person escaping very unsafe. And so that's why there's a lack of sense of safety for civilians across the planet now with this situation that's unfolding, which gives an excuse to enact these powers, which are orders which are in conflict with constitutional law without many jurisdictions across the planet. And as you can see, just a bit of play rolling here. So I've got the sovereign flag here, which is famous in Australian history from back in the gold miners, when there's a history to that flag, and it means a lot about the sovereignty and about people standing up and speaking their truth for their rights, and governance then not listening to what the people said. And then there was a big shootout between gold miners and troopers, which back then were basically police officers, and the miners lost and they were all arrested, but because it was such a big news and a big event and lives were lost, it actually changed the laws, which were laws of the license, because they raised the amount of the gold license, and all the immigrants in Australia were who came here to mine the gold were very upset with this, governance that was pushing up the price of having a gold license. So it was taxing everyone who was looking for gold and shifting that price up and up and up, and then people had enough, and there were people from basically from different places, mainly Europe, including the Irish and the Scottish, which the Irish and the Scottish don't take shit. In fact, if you talk to Irish people around here, I said, oh, you got an Irish accent. Were you from the north or south? And he's like, yeah, I'm from the north. I said, what do you think of what's going on? What was your opinion when you were living over there, when they had British soldiers on the streets because of the the in-house terrorism with the IRA? And they're like, well, that was fine, this is worse. He said, what's going on in parts of Sydney is worse than what was going on in Northern Ireland back in, I think it was the 1980s time, before it evolved and the consciousness shifted, and then they became even political. So yeah, interesting. But anyway, I've got some articles to read here, but I also have a very patriotic song which I'll try and sing along with, which is called it's by David Rovix, Song for Eureka Stockade, which is about this flag and about what happened. And I'm going to do my best, but let's see how we go, because see, singing is like meditation. When it's aligned to the sovereignty and freedom and expression of pure human emotion, it releases codes are activating, and it also triggers a memory, the ancient memory within us of the true liberal freedoms of which we are basically born with. It's, beyond this containment situation on Earth. Months upon the stormy sea, some seek their fortune, others escaping slavery. What they found on the goldfields was one in Ballarat, Victoria, beneath the southern sun. Coats attacked the camp, dozens there would fall. Among the brave gold diggers who had risen to the call, they swore an oath beneath the Southern Cross. They stand together and watch the license laws their way. But when 15,000 miners rolled in a month and later on the day, the Crown receded everything and all of their demands. To the test, the diggers may have lost the battle, but they quickly won the day, and those shot fired in Victoria beneath the Southern Cross, they'd stand together and break the license laws. From 20 different nations they gathered here as one in Ballarat, Victoria, beneath the Southern. They swore an oath beneath the Southern Cross, they'd stand together and break the license laws. From 20 different nations. People who are born generations later really don't have connections to that. Of the messages going on. So yeah, I'm wearing this just for the sake of the video. Australians who went to Afghanistan. So, and that they didn't wear the blue one, they wore that instead. Look here. Okay, let's have a read of some of these. Some of you might have already read these online, so excuse me for sharing material that you already know. And a collective of consciousness in the shape of a cube that is a multi-D portal that these Orions consider their queen. This queen is not AI in the sense that it was a technology created by other sentient beings. It is a self-aware. FB, Twitter, etc. were almost there at arriving at their levels of technology and connecting humanity to the dark collective using their respective technologies. The recent outage of social media took place during these texts. US defaulted on September the 30th and has been given until October 18, coming up shortly, before the plug is finally pulled on that evil regime. Australia was not given to the CPP or CCP. I'm a bit, I don't know where to go with that, because my understanding was a payload of maintenance stuff, probably food, etc., was launched in a space rocket from China that then took a trajectory out into space, travelling over the Australian continent, directly over Sydney, in the direction of Antarctica to then go and hook up to the Chinese space station with supplies. So maybe it was carrying a nuclear thing and it was a double thing to sort of send a threat, but hidden under the natural event of that. But it was interesting that it was sent up over Australia where people could actually look up and see it very far up, but could actually see it travelling, which was interesting. A plane load of trafficked children was confiscated in Africa. Hopefully the children will be returned. At least some good news, but there is a war on the horizon, unfortunately, because they think it can't be avoided. Just tells me that there is the same old, maybe different people, but the same old story. One last thing, the reason they've worried about La Palma volcano is that it could create a tsunami that would hit the east coast of the USA. Yeah. For that matter, all those ships out there as well, they're looking at taking out the base under Norway where HARP is being used to hit La Palma and aggravate the volcano. I'd also just like to say that it was an Evergrande or Everglade in China has basically defaulted, and also Fantasia Holdings is defaulting as we speak, and another one, something I see something, is it City or iCity something, is another developer that develops, infrastructure developer, where they construct, high rises and buildings and so on. It's also defaulting. So it's like a Wells Fargo situation is unfolding in China. And watching where this goes, if this is the dying of the old and the old energy goes with it, and it's like when the USSR collapsed and then a new energy came in, that was sort of an upgrade, but still not obviously the highest it could be. But maybe this is a sign of the end of China as we know it, where it may rise from the dust of wherever this goes to become a different system that might be more in alignment with the higher frequency energies that are hitting the planet. So a lot of the old systems need to die out for the new ones to come in that are more liberal in representing the living, breathing humans on this planet, rather than adhering to the financial godhead where we are enslaved to. So something good could be coming out of this, even though there could be sufferance in the meantime, because it seems that it could affect the economy. There's also something happening in the USA for around the 18th of December. So we could be looking at a major, the biggest financial collapse event that we have seen this century. Perhaps even going right back to the Great Depression. Who knows, and who knows how it will unfold, but in the coming days, a few weeks, we could be seeing a major event to impact globally everything, that will force a new pathway out to take us into a future. And whether the dark side has control of that narrative or the good guys have control of it, and it feels like ultimately the good guys are going to win, because all you have to do is go out and sit in the sun and look up at the sky and feel into the energy. And the dark narrative that everyone is locked into, that the mainstream collective community is still plugged into, it's still running, but right in front of everyone, the new higher frequency energies are present, and you cannot make that go away. So it's only a matter of time before the negative slavery style governance systems and narratives broadcast to the masses that hold a collective census reality that everyone adheres to gets dissolved, and people wake up out of that matrix and then start tapping into the truth of the true energy of where we're going. And that will be incredible. Like, it will be such a huge awakening to watch the collective shift out of that and tap into the truth. We are ready and happy to appear. Dear brothers of planet Earth, I am Kaligal. Impact as possible, and we need to present ourselves perfectly aligned and elegant. We understand that you still give a lot of strength to appearances. We understand that this is a lesson that will be learned over time, where you will see so many different ways, but that in time you will learn to love and respect them, understanding that you are just another species in the universe. Many of you still believe all that important that their egos have placed them, and they will learn over time to accept and respect the different, because this is a big lesson you had to learn. Unfortunately, the vast majority have not yet learned. He sees those who are different in color, shape, way of life as strangers, as enemies who must be enslaved and slaughtered. There is still a large minority of you who think this way. Why a large minority? Because it's not a small minority, it's a very large one. So when they realize that universe, you are just another species, the egos will scream, kick at you, and the same will not accept that you are not superior races, that you are not the only ones in the universe. This will be such a shock to them that they may not survive it. No, I'm not exaggerating. The awareness of superiority is a very serious thing on the minds of some of you, and losing it is unacceptable. It's not allowed. You can be aware of how difficult it will be for us to be accepted on your planet, us and everyone else, because we are not all the same. It's safe for us and for you. Now, being there eye to eye, as you say, so close that we can feel each other's breath, will be a moment of great energy for you and for us. We have not had contact with the third dimension for a long time, third dimension, without having their energies affected. It's not easy for us. So I can tell you that I will be leading a great team offered to come down, so no one would be putting our safety at risk. We will know where and how to land by the commanders of this entire operation. We are not naive. We know that we can get from you the rest assured that we will be unprotected, but we will never do anything to hit them. We will only protect ourselves until the first impact is absorbed by the planet's population, when everyone is sure that we exist and that we have been here for a long time, and yes, we can appear anywhere, take you on our ships, and I'm sure many of you will line up to be with us on our ships. But all this will take a while until this new knowledge for many on the planet is absorbed. Soon, very soon, we will be there. Presenting ourselves physically is an honor for us. It is a moment of great joy because we are aware of the friendly hearts that we have created on this planet, each one of you. And we will make a point of being with each one of those who respect us today. We won't know the way yet, but rest assured we'll do it there. Your planet is very big. We will need to have a tour guide so that we can get to know everyone. But there will be time for that. There is no rush. We have no date to leave. We will remain here for a long time yet. Then we'll have plenty of time to dock at every point on the planet, if only to meet a single being from this place who has accepted and loved us. We will make the visit to this one being. No problem for us. We don't want an audience. We don't want friends. And every one of you who tries or contacts us today, we know exactly who and where you are. So wait for our visit. Unfortunately, we cannot say that we will go to your house. It would be too risky for us. But we will certainly be in a place where you can visit us, and we will be there, working for you as long as necessary. Rest assured of this. Our love for you is immense, and we want to strengthen this friendship that emerged from the great process forever, for eternity. Of course, you keep trying to figure out and guess when this will happen. We can say that there is no definite date, because it depends on the surface actions. But we can say this: if now at this moment the great Commander Sananda told us to come down, we would be ready. It would not be a unbridled rush to fulfill his request. We're ready, just in time to put on our shoes. A little humour doesn't hurt anyone, and we'd be there almost immediately. So we'll just wait for an order, or rather a request from Sananda, our great commander. So I just say to you that we will be performing as beautiful and elegant as possible. Our house, which are our naves today, is decorated, ornamented, clean, fragrant, to welcome you inside. Whoever has the courage to enter, but I believe that we will be able to receive you. I could say with a nice table of sweets as you are used to, but for sure we could welcome you with a party, and that we would give you to consume would be something unforgettable for you, because it will have a very special taste. It will have the taste of friendship, the taste of love, and the taste of great victory in the great process. You asked for it. The human race asked for help, asked for your freedom, and Sananda listened to you. And today, you are one step closer to becoming another totally free race in the universe. Wait just a little longer. Effectively, a long time ago, it would have been a long time ago, but today, I would say that no, I cannot give predictions, because it is not up to us, but that is for sure. Everything is moving forward with great strides, and we will be at any moment. When you least expect it, we'll be there. Trust. Anyone who wants to keep trying to get in touch with us, for the light that reaches this planet, we are responding quickly and easily. Your consciousness is opening up. The blocks, most have already fallen, so just ask heartedly. Pleiadian brothers, make contact with me, and rest assured we will. And that is channeled by Anjos or Anjos, Anjos e las Terapias, and shared by Loose Light. So there you go. I apologise for it dropping out there. I've turned the car onto coal just to stop the phone from overheating again. It's ridiculous. I'm parked in the shade. The phone shouldn't be heating up unless something's going on with it. It's even in a phone cover that's supposed to give it some protection from heat. Alright, what else is news? I'm sure there's plenty of things going on that I have forgotten about. I often get off and in hindsight think, oh yeah, I didn't mention this, and I forgot to mention this and this and this. So yeah, there's a lot's going on. There is lots of good stuff going on. Everyone needs to hold the line. I mean, I've got people I know in Western Australia that are freaking out right now because they do fly in, fly out to mine sites, and they've just made that mandatory. And I've just said, look, don't get yourself sacked, but don't feel forced or coerced to do something. If you can hold out for 2 months, where take paid leave or something, or just ride this out, once the negatives get their quota for a certain percentage, then they'll probably relax it again, and then they'll drop it down, and then they'll reverse some of those rulings, and it won't be necessary. So it's like, what else can you do? Some people, it's like they feeling forced to do something. Very interesting times indeed. Very interesting times. So yeah, but there's definitely higher frequency energy here. It's available to all of us. And in saying that, if you are not sure if you're tapping it, all you need to do is, especially if it's a sunny day, is basically stare at the horizon and connect into the energy of the blue sky, and then see all the trees. See all the trees and all the leaves of the trees and the sky, the blue sky, and remember that we're standing on this world, and that out there it's very busy, and there's lots of energies entering here on many dimensional levels, including at this plane of existence as well, as a physical measurable science. So yes, alright, I think I'm going to go, but yeah, to let you know about what I've done in my car. So I got the second battery in, I've wired it all in, I've got the solar panel, so my car is a power generator now, and I have a 1000 watt inverter, which can basically run a blender. It can run other things quite well, and I'm thinking about putting actual like household power points in, so you got your white thing with a button just like you have on the wall in your house, and having them in the a few different places in the car, and then wiring that back to the inverter, so that in a sense the car is indifferent to when you go into any home and there's wall plugs. So thinking about wiring in a couple of plugs and having the inverter hidden away, like under the back seat or something, as a hidden unit, so that, and there's also a remote line that comes on, it looks like a telephone or computer line, and I haven't worked out, it's like a remote on-off switch, and I haven't worked out whether that would be best situated somewhere near the driver, or in the boot where you open it up, whereas where you would sort of access, like if you were to go camping or something, you would open the boot up and have lots of access and activity there, because it's like a little workbench, it's an activity area. So yeah, as far as Nasara Gasara, I've been reading stuff, but a lot of it's the same old tune. I haven't given my energy to that, because I get tired of reading over the same rhetoric and the repeating, and always getting closer and closer, and getting, edging closer and closer, and it's like held in it's always edging in imminent and about to happen, and then nothing ever happens, and it's easy to just back off from that information, and then wait 2 or 3 weeks or a month, and then recheck in, because I don't see the point of feeding energy. It makes me wonder if if there's actually a negative agenda there of getting everyone focused in, which is feeding, possibly, I don't know, feeding loose energy. I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out, because it seems that when we focus energy into something, and when I've tapped into it in the past, and someone, like, I've done many videos over the last 3 years and tapping into that, and I have to say, collectively, for all the many humans involved in it, there is a lot of ego energy in there. It's quite, I find it very contaminated with lower energy, lower energies. So it's quite hard to navigate, and I feel it's even that, like, there's a mainstream narrative and media, but then there's also, in our alternative groups around these things, there's always a lot of egoic energy, which I feel is contaminating, which I can't really participate in, because it actually draws you into interacting with it on some level. You've got to come down, if you know what I mean. So, you know, you're either like looking to be connected to something that's bringing you up, but then if you have to drop down in order to operate, then I would question why things are not already established at a higher evolution with those groups. So yeah, like, I just tune in, and it's like, I know there has to be a certain limit, because it's operating within the three-dimensional context of the 3D Earth. It's not really up there at 5D yet. There's probably a lot, but when you look at a lot of those who are great influential people of high status in that the egocentric energy seems to be a little bit limiting, and it seems to be a block to me that I think maybe it's part of their own personal karmic evolution to recognize stuff and clear that. So hopefully everyone gets through and breaks that barrier and lifts up to a higher state, and in their emanation of that material for the 5D quantum financial system. That's all I can say about that, because that's what I get, that's what I feel, that's what I tune into. I mean, no offense to anyone, but it's like that's what I pick up a lot of the time. So actually engaging known persons who are representational, if the energy's not quite high enough, it feels like, for me personally, because I feel like, even though I speak out my truth, I feel like I'm more of an observer, and in some regards I step back from having some major role. I simply observe and navigate the energies and register what is there and that. And then of course I also get caught up in my own personal stuff, because I'm here to transition that as well. So you've got to take all that into consideration with this. So anyway, nanu, live long and prosper. Ladies and gentlemen of planet Earth and Australia and the rest of the world, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you all very soon, hopefully back with some more information on what's coming up, because it's going to be a really interesting month, especially going from the middle of the month going right through to November. And isn't November going to be interesting in that? And it's going to be interesting going right through the solstice around the 23rd, 22nd, 23rd, 21st, 22nd, 23rd of December. It's going to be quite interesting, and with the Christmas, and then the shift of into the New Year's as well, and what that means for the collective, including mainstreamers, the sleepers, the awakened, and the whole system. And then it's going to be very interesting about March too, I feel. So about March next year, 2022. I'll just be weary and see what comes and what goes. And, you know, it's like how far does the fear-mongering have to go to trigger people to activate into their truth and stand for their truth? Because if the more and more people that wake up, the better. Otherwise, I'm a bit concerned there might be the need for something more sinister and apartheid to be the trigger for the awakening to then override that. Hopefully we don't need to go there. There may be some jurisdictions that will do that, just like on some level it has occurred here and is still happening in Victoria. So it'll be interesting to see what countries liberate and shift and stay, and if there's another secret bag of worms that they're going to try and bring in. But my understanding, and I have no information on whether this is true, there's 14 boosts And I said the word boosts, not with the ER on the end. Apparently there's 14, 2 a year. And then it's like a heroin addict where there's a dependency which makes a person a customer, and it's going to actually be a fee. You must pay. You want it, you want to live, you must pay to have this. So just letting everyone know that that's a possible plan there with that. 14 boosts, and after maybe the 4th or 5th one, or maybe after the 3rd one, it's like, you want it, pay for it. Pay for it yourself, out of your money, your hard-earned money. Interesting. Nanu, live long and prosper, and thank you for watching. Bye for now.